Hello there, welcome to Genessis-Models. My name is Bobby Waldron and this is the 16th of October 2015 Genessis-Models show. Now this week I've been working on HMS Victory, which I'll just show you right here. This week the focus was these gun ports. These gun ports are, if you're working through or you've ever done it before, they are an absolute pain because there is just, like 100 of them or something like that, and they do take a long time to cut out, trim, sand. So the whole idea of this episode was to bring in some new tools, tools that we wouldn't normally use in hobbies, and even to kind of craft and make our own tool as well, which I'll show you in that episode. And the whole idea is to just make these gun ports, cut them out quick, easy, fast, and then it's just a case of a quick little trim, sand, and they're done. There's also a bit of work on the inside, and we've kind of got our doors that we're opening up here. So it is kind of slowly coming along. I think I'm going to have to just put some time in on this off camera to sort of like build up the rest of the planks, and then we've got another row of gun ports to do, so I'll have to find some extra time for that. But yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy that episode. That's up on the website now. Also this week, I've been working on sort of the studio as usual. It's starting to look good now, but I want to start talking about classes. Now when it comes to classes, at the moment it's taking a bit of time to sort of well, let's face it. I mean, if you want to come for a class, you're going to want an airbrush, a compressor, a extractor fan. You want all the tools so you can try them all out basically, and actually do the practical work, which let's face it, it's going to cost me a bomb to do all that. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to start up a thread or something on the forum, and we can talk about maybe starting up some one-to-one classes, just to sort of get these classes started. You guys can come down, you can have a one-to-one with me. You can actually basically sit here at the desk using all my tools, and I can just like teach you how to maybe do some basic spraying, basic assembly, maybe have different sections. I mean, crikey, I've got to really sort of sit down and think about how I'm going to actually structure this, and really, this is for you guys, so I really sort of want to kind of get the feedback off you on how to sort of structure these classes, and even down to what times. Even get your input on cost, what you think you should pay for it and whatnot. So yeah, I'll start up a thread on that, and we'll work something out together for sort of like classes and stuff. Next up as well, where is it? Our de Havilland Sea Hornet, which is this month's competition. I've gone off and done a inbox review of this, so let's check out this inbox review now. Hello there, welcome to Genessis-Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be taking a inbox review of Trumpeter's 1/48 scale de Havilland Sea Hornet NF21. Notice that this is in 1/48 scale. We've got some nice box art going on the front, and the usual stuff going around on the sides. So let's just open this up and take a look inside. Now first off, the packaging is actually rather good with this kit, because I'll start off actually with our canopy, and as you can see the packaging, we've got, it was in a plastic bag as well as wrapped up. Whoops. Now first impressions is the canopy is really crystal clear, clean. We've got no scratches, no marks, we've got no cobweb effects or really any problems. I mean, this canopy is rather good. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, really. Moving along to the decals. Right, with our decals, there's not many, but I mean, what we do have, they do have sort of like a sort of glossy sort of finish. They do feel sort of like they are on the bit of a thin side. I got a feeling they'll go down pretty good, nicely in registry. The colours are good. We do have our instrument display panel just there, which really does look well detailed, and from what I've seen of the instrument display panel in plastic, this will go really well with it. So I do like that deckled instrument display panel there. Move along with a few first parts. Here we have our instrument display panel, which I have just been talking about. Right, hopefully, as you can see, I mean, there's no detail inside our dials, but that's where the decals come in. But apart from that, I mean, it is looking very crisp and tidy. Anyway, here is our cockpit sort of tub. We've got a bit of detail going in there, but there are lots of pieces that I do believe, here we go, do sort of connect inside there and give us those extra bit of details, which is looking rather nice and tidy. Moving along, got two identical sprues here. One is we've got propellers on here and wheels and everything, which are looking really good. The whole kit just seems to be very crisp and tidy. Now that is probably down to the fact that this kit was released in 2014, so this is only like about just over a year old, this tooling, so it's going to be quite nice and tidy, not much in the sense of flash, and they seem to have sort of looked into like the ejector pin marks side of things, because there ain't really any problems with the ejector pin marks. Moving along, we have our fuselage section, so we can have a look at some surface detail now, and hopefully what you can see, let's get you in focus nicely. Hopefully what you can see is we've got some nice pretty good crisp consistent recess panel lines. I do like them. They do seem to be quite neat and tidy. On this sprue as well, we've got some more internal detail, bulkheads and all sorts of cool stuff, but yeah. So that's the Sea Hornet there, which will have its own little video that will be up on the website as well. I did mention last week I've gone off and I brought some model master paints, because I'm after Pacific colour for our F-15. At the same time, I did go off and buy a load more. Now I know that it is hard to get these in Europe, really. I had to go to Poland to get these Model Master paints, but I do know that it's like readily available in the US. So for you US guys, it probably would be good for me to sort of like have a good bash at these. So when we do the F-15 again, I'll have a good bash of our Model Master paints. So they've nicely arrived, and if they're any good, I might go out and maybe get the whole set or something like that. Now I've got a little clip here of a bit of what I've been getting up to in the studio. So messing around this week in this new studio here, and the one thing I was looking at was compressors, because I need to feed this whole studio with enough compressed air for people in this room, in the studio room, to have lessons and have all the compressed air they need, as well as the first room when you first walk into Genessis-Models. That's going to be like an area where people would also want compressed air. So really I needed to go into a bit of an industrial sort of scale, because going off and buying loads and loads of compressors for in here and in another room is going to cost literally just hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So searching around and trying to come up with some ideas of how to get around this problem, I found this. which I'm just going to get, which is rather heavy. Oh, there we go. Right, this here is like a big sort of, you know, industrial scale type compressor. They're a lot cheaper than going out and buying hobby compressors. I mean, this one is the Panther by Clark's. I paid about £120 for this. You can get them a hell of a lot cheaper. I wanted to buy something a bit half decent, but you can pick these up for like £60 if need be. They've, you know, they are quite powerful. We've got 2.5 watt horsepower. You can get 116 psi out of this, which is like basically bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. It's, you know, got that much power and psi, you know, 24 litre tank capacity. So it's big, it's beefy, but it's loud, and you've got to do a little bit of maintenance with these. So with these, it's good to be able to feed a lot of compressed air, but with that comes a few problems. So you got some few ups and downs, and this should be, let's put this down a sec because it is absolutely heavy. Right, there are ups and downs with this, and it all depends on your situation. I mean, as I say, this was like £25. The compressor I've got for the hobby, I paid something like £220, £240. You know, so the price is very different. I mean, to go out and buy at least a half decent hobby compressor, I've searched around, and really to get a decent one, well, to get an entry level one that's gonna, you know, work and do the job properly, really you're going to be spending about £80 upwards. Whereas I do believe I've seen at Aldi and Lidl, you can pick these big compressors up for, you know, around about £60. So, you know, they are a lot cheaper. And the thing is, because you buy these big compressors for things like nail guns and maybe spraying your garden fence or something like that, it's quite possible you already have one in your garden shed or something like that. So, you know, the cost is even less in that sense. So what I want to show you is, you know, how to get, does this work for our hobby? Because I know some people have emailed me in the past asking the question, you know, can I use one of these big sort of industrial type compressors for the hobby? Well, the answer is yes, but you've got to deal with a few ups and downs. First off, and this is going to be the big one really, is you'll hear it. I'm just going to turn it on now. Yeah, it is extremely loud. 97 decibels is what they've got as a warning on there. So, you know, one, it's big, so you need to put it somewhere. Two, you know, if what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be putting this in one of the stock rooms, and then I'm going to get some soundproofing rubber and sort of put it in a nice little box to sort of limit the sound a lot, and I've got the space to put it somewhere. You know, so I can get around that, and it depends again on your situation. Now the next thing really is, you know, with these, you do have to keep them filled up with oil, so you do have to, you know, do a bit of maintenance. But in all honesty, I mean, really, there's a air filter on this. There's basically, it's the same as your car. You know, you just got to keep the oil, you know, topped up to a specific level, and that's it really. It really isn't that much maintenance at all. You know, it is really just the size of it and the noise of it. The other thing is, this can pull out a whopping 116 psi, and if we go look at, I'll just kind of tell you, on our hobby regulator here, it goes up to 100. So you've got to sort of, I don't know if it can take it or not, but the fact that the dial only goes up to 100 psi and this can pull out 116, I wouldn't sort of risk it. So you want to sort of, there is, I will show you, We have got a nice little regulator actually already on this, where you probably want to turn this down. I mean, really, you could whack this right down to like 60 psi. You really don't need the kind of pressure that this thing can provide. 60 psi on here will then feed 60 psi to your regulator I have over here. So yeah, really sort of turn it down. You don't want to be pulling out the max. Oh man, this is so heavy. So that's a bit of a safety thing. You don't want to be blowing up your compressor or whatever. Now I'm just gonna turn the camera off and actually get this filled up now. So our compressor here has just filled up at a whopping 97 decibels, but that took about a minute, maybe a minute and a half to actually fill that 24 litre tank. So what I'm going to do now is a little experiment just to kind of show you the massive benefit of potentially going out and getting something like one of these big sort of industrial compressors over a hobby one. So first off, I'm going to get my stopwatch, right, and I'm going to get my airbrush here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold this down continuously and see how long we get compressed air without our compressor here kicking in and start topping up our 24 litre tank. Now I've got our regulator set at a standard 20 psi is what we basically normally use. So I'm going to probably have to speed this up because it does take a fair while. So ready, steady, go. Right, so as you can see, I mean, that took a whopping like 6 minutes and 20 seconds, which really is actually an incredibly long time to just be constantly 20 psi and your finger down. Now the thing is as well, I mean, that is when it kicked in, but it kicked in what is that? It kicked in when it got down to about 70 psi in this tank, right? So you could theoretically fill the tank, the 24 litre tank completely, then you could turn it off, and I could have continued continuously 20 psi with my finger down, and although this kicked in at 70 psi to refill, I mean, if you turned it off, I mean, it could go on and on and on and on for a hell of a lot longer. So it does have that advantage. I would say I could probably spray a model and probably just use that 24 litre tank. That's sort of like the beauty of this, is that storage of 24 litres really does give you all the air you need for for whatever you need that day. To be totally honest with you, I wouldn't need to cut. You wouldn't need to kick back in, which is what I love about it. My hobby compressor, I don't know. I mean, you could be like spraying for like 30 seconds, and it just tops up now and then, but it's quieter, so it's not such a big deal. But yeah, all in all, we're talking cheap, big compressor, big tank to have all that air to kind of have at your disposal. But it is loud, bulky. You've got to keep it topped up with oil. You've got to keep an eye on the air filter. But really, if we was just to use this for the hobby, it's not going to be on that much at all. I mean, on for a minute, beginning of the day, and you've got all the compressed air you need for basically the rest of the day. And as for here at Genesis Models, this should be able to feed pretty much, should be able to feed however many people we could have hooked up to airbrushes, which also you can, which I probably might do depending on how well this works, you can actually hook this compressor up to a sort of like a 50-litre tank, and that 50-litre tank be hooked up to everybody's regulators here at Genesis Models. So you then increase your capacity, so then this thing isn't like coming on hardly at all, if at all. So hopefully that's sort of like helped answer a few of your questions, and I just thought I'd just throw that out there. Seems as though I've been kind of messing around with this week here at Genesis Models. So hope you enjoyed that little bit of what I've been getting up to here at the studio. Sadly, no Necrons this week, and that's just because I've just ran out of time, sadly. But next week I'll have part 3 up of the Necrons, where we'll be I do believe we're going to be doing some brush painting and maybe even getting on to doing the bases. Next week as well, we're going to be doing our Spitfire and Hurricane week in rapid video build style. So I do believe I've got like most of the cockpit done, so we're going to be like basically bringing these fuselage halves together. And basically let's just see how it fits, see what fit problems we come across, and we'll tackle them as that comes along. So sadly, we've come to the end of the show, but hopefully you've enjoyed the show this week. So until next week, my name is Bobby Waldron, this is Genesis Models, and I hope you've enjoyed.